girl. All right, you guys, so here is an example of a horse that responds very, very well to acupressure. I have gone through about the first half of the right side of the body, and I have had a tail swish pretty much constantly since I started. Good girl. Now, when something like this happens and they are overly sensitive and they're in the healing process, typically they respond well to a lighter touch, gentle pressure, acupressure, and acupuncture, as well as essential oils, because sometimes their muscles are so tight you can't just start with a sports massage. All right, so it's key to be able to read the horse and see which point we're at. So I'm going to give you an example. Let me work on the wither area. So I'm going to start with sports massage, and you can see the tail has started swishing. We're getting some movement. We are getting some ear pinning. However, this isn't as much as I just had before I did acupressure. Now I'm going to switch to acupressure, which I did just a minute ago along her entire spine. So let's just watch her here. And I'm going to go to different points. The tail has stopped. The ear is relaxed. The eye is relaxed. She's paying attention and quite enjoying this. I have a specific tool that I use for acupressure. However, this tool feels like acupuncture when used correctly, even though it is not. So you can see that eye droop. So I'm doing these same set of points. Good job, girl. All the way down her spine that I did a minute ago. There's a little release. Try and zoom in a little for you on her face. Multitasking. Now this can be just as beneficial as sports massage itself, because if a horse is so tense that I cannot get into the muscles, you need to open them up a certain way, and sometimes certain massage strokes that are used to open up the muscles just simply don't work for certain horses. This may not always be the case with her, but right now it is, and so we're going with it. And that's what I love to do, is read the horse, and really each massage session is tailored to them. Look at that eye. Good girl. I'm still holding a pressure point here on her biceps. Good girl. We are going to sleep. All right, we're moving to the hip. Oops, if I could record correctly. Good girl. I finally got a rested leg back here for a second, which is tough for her to do. I'm gonna leave her alone and let her release this herself without me being there, which some horses also need. So you can see just how long sometimes it does take. I think this is about 4.5 minutes so far, and that's just with doing some of those points. That's why it's so important to be able to read the horse and what they need and not rush them through it. Good girl. Get her eye there. We're getting a nice relaxed face. And she is releasing here. You see the eyelids fluttering, even though she's not licking and chewing yet. These are all signs to look for. There we go. That took 5 minutes, but that's okay. Typically it's less and less with each session. Good girl. is better. So it's actually the same thing as I'm working on her hind end, for example, with this stifle. So she has a hard time relaxing her hind end because of how straight she stands. You can see she stands close together behind herself. She does have very contracted hooves, so that is affecting her above. So it really puts strain on the hock, but ultimately the stifle. So when I'm working, anytime I'm doing a sports massage on the body, it is like a workout for the horse. So when I'm working on the hind end, owners can usually see the horse's pectoral muscles moving up here. So it's not uncommon for a different area or muscle group to be actively engaged, almost like muscle stim when I'm working on a different point. So for example, when I'm working on the semimembranosus and semitendinosus muscles here, which are alongside the tail, when you work these muscles, it's actually a great exercise for stifle strengthening. So when I'm working on this point, it's important that your therapist recognizes the difference between, okay, I'm getting a reaction from these muscles, or it's reacting because this set of muscle groups surrounding the stifle are engaged, and which area is actually the problem area. So there is nothing wrong with her muscles here. They feel really good. But when I work them, you'll see it causes that muscle to contract, and she's not a fan of it. I just got a tail swish. I'm getting some movement, okay, when it works. I'm trying to catch it on video. All right. So instead, when I'm working this area, I also can't use percussion. She does very well with that acupressure. So instead of going in here and twisting as I normally would, instead we're gonna just apply touch until I get that relaxed response, which she appreciates. All right. So I just wanted to point that out because I think a lot of people, every therapist is different in their approach, but again, I really assess the entire thing and read the horse. I can tell, I've been doing this long enough now, and everybody's always learning. We're all at a different part. We all start somewhere, and I used to be brand new and inexperienced and fresh out of school as well, but I think it's important to know how much is too much, when to let off, and then also reading their responses and being in tune enough with reading their body language to know that, okay, I've done enough, and they're about to release, let off, add more, and stuff like that. Okay? So she's gonna end up releasing this again, and I will add this onto the first video clip that I took.